Hello, welcome to Asian American, the leading public television show that focuses on Asia and Asian Americans. Our topic today is renewable energy and how the world can meet the challenges of climate change by reducing its dependency on fossil fuels. Let me start with you, James. As a scientist, what do you think are the major issues facing us as a result of climate change? Should we all be worried about climate change?
Yes, the scientific consensus is that global warming is already happening because of human activity, basically our release of greenhouse gases from burning fossil fuels and deforestation. That if we don't do anything about the problem, then we're going to face dangerous impacts around the world. It's imperative that the world work together to reduce emissions over the next few decades, and by 50 years from now we need to be reducing global emissions by 50% below today's level. Now, in contrast, without any policies, the projected emissions will be over 50% above today's level. So that's a huge change that we need to make, and we need to transform all of our energy economy in order to achieve that.
James, what are some of the things that scientists like yourself and the Environmental Defense Fund is doing in terms of sort of raising awareness of this issue, about sort of spreading the word to the world about these challenges that we face as a planet? And these are not challenges that are sort of bound by borders. These are going to have an impact on all of us.
Each year there are meetings under the United Nations, pretty much all the countries in the world, to negotiate a new treaty after the Kyoto Protocol expires in 2012. Developing countries are well aware of the tremendous impacts that climate change could have on them, on their livelihood. While there's that awareness, I think a lot of these developing countries, understandably, are concerned about their need to just simply develop without excessive constraints on their development. And they are currently at a much lower income level than the industrialized countries. So that's been kind of an issue in the international negotiations. But groups like my own, Environmental Defense Fund, we've offered proposals to try to bring developing countries into the international effort, but at the same time provide incentives for them to join. So this may include awarding credits in a carbon market for countries that avoid deforestation. So this brings in tropical countries. And we also are developing a proposal to provide so-called surplus allowances in the emissions trading market to developing countries that take early action. So if they agree to voluntarily take a cap on their national emissions, then we propose that they should get an incentive in the form of these surplus allowances that they can sell on the international carbon market, and therefore obtain revenue for developing in a clean way.
We have an infrastructure in the United States which is sort of kind of antiquated in terms of meeting some of these challenges in climate change. Are there things that policymakers should be doing or thinking about to sort of expedite a transformation to the new sort of renewable energy sources?
Well, we at Environmental Defense Fund firmly believe that we need a national government approach to addressing climate change, and one component of that approach should be a so-called cap-and-trade system. So we believe that this sort of a cap-and-trade system will provide an incentive for companies to become more efficient in their use of energy, and to also shift away from fossil fuel-based energy towards alternative forms of energy. And so we firmly believe that the U.S. needs to lead the world in this issue.
Could it be for the U.S. an opportunity rather than a challenge?
A cap-and-trade system could stimulate a green energy revolution in this country, and we're already at the verge of it, but we just need this added stimulus to really promote these alternative forms of energy, because currently fossil fuels are cheap and they get subsidized in various forms. So we need to level the playing field to allow these alternative energies to develop, and this can create millions of new jobs and really send us into the 21st century rather than back into the 20th century.
20th century.
Right. Yeah, I don't think this will be an easy problem to solve, the global climate problem. But unfortunately, we do have a limited amount of time in which to solve this problem. In fact, we only have at most 10 or 20 years before we need to actually start bringing global emissions downward. And and that's at the same time that energy demand is projected to increase by 50 to 100% over the next 50 years. So it's not going to be easy for sure. But I think if we have the right government policies and incentives in place, then we can gradually solve this problem.